That is a wrap on the ABC News presidential debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. We have all been watching an extraordinary moment of history together. We want to welcome you to a special live edition of The Issue Is. I'm Alex Michelson. We want to show you live pictures from all over Southern California and Philadelphia. That right there, a live look at the Spin Room in Philadelphia, which will soon be packed with leaders offering their take. We will go back there live. Fox 11 also live at a nonpartisan watch party. This happening at the Hammer Museum in Westwood. Ed Laskos is there. We'll talk to him in a moment. We also have a live picture from the official Harris-Walz debate watch party in downtown L.A. L.A. Mayor Karen Bass is there, that being hosted by the California Democratic Party. We want to welcome you inside our Fox 11 studios. I'm Alex Michelson, joined tonight by two well-known faces, two of our favorite people. Attorney Lisa Bloom is here, along with KFI's John Kobylt. Welcome to you both.
Thanks, Alex.
Lisa, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, the difference is so stark. Kamala Harris says, here's my plan for small business, for housing, for prescription drugs. Donald Trump says, immigrants are eating dogs and cats. The country is being destroyed. We're about to have a nuclear war. One is reality-based, Kamala Harris. One is completely delusional.
John, your thoughts?
If you were an independent voter, undecided, and you wondered about inflation, and if you wondered about 8 million or 20 million people coming over the border, her role in it, what her work was during 3.5 years on inflation and border, what was her answer? She was asked point blank, and she dodged the question, circled around several times, and then flew off. She never addressed the two biggest issues that Americans care about in the polling, especially the independent voters, the undecided voters. Third thing, on flip-flops, the thing that comes up in every Kamala Harris news story that I read is she's changed her mind on a lot of important things. Why? Just explain why. Didn't answer that either. So if you're one of those undecided voters, what was there to make you vote for her when she avoided those three big issues?
But, John, you left out one of the most important issues, and that is abortion. That's one of the top two for American women. Wait a second. And Donald Trump would not answer the question about whether he would veto a national abortion ban, even when confronted with J.D. Vance saying that he wouldn't. He would not answer that question.
But here's the thing. As a guy, I care much more about immigration, much more about economy and inflation.
Well, some men care about women, so that's kind of unfortunate.
Well, that's not.
Well, that's going to an extreme there, isn't it?
Yeah,
a lot of men
I have to have abortion in my top 10 list.
Well, a lot of people
I have
care
to have
about
that
abortion
because
rights.
you say so.
Because a lot of people do care about abortion rights. But you said American people, not you.
All right.
And that is one of the top issues.
What I'm telling you is number one and number two is immigration, economy, inflation, in those orders. Number one criticism of Kamala Harris, her flip-flopping. That's the three issues I laid out.
People get
wait a
facts,
second.
they change their mind.
She made it clear.
Donald Trump has changed his mind about abortion about 5 times.
She made it clear how she stands on abortion. Yes. Why can't she make it clear?
Right.
Why did we end up with 9% inflation? Why did we get 10 million people over the border? Why did she change her mind?
Donald Trump wouldn't even address what he did on January 6th. What about decency? What about a president who actually wants to move forward and not settle old grievances?
All right, we're gonna leave that there for a second. We're getting more of a debate here than we just saw. Maybe we need the muted mics. We want to real quickly to each of you, because we do this here. One word to describe the debate, John. One word.
It was kind of a grind. It was a standoff. It's because, no, I don't have just one-word answers. The moderators never pushed both candidates to answer the question. Yeah. I know you would have.
Yeah, the moderators are a big part of the story tonight. We're going to talk more about them in a second.
My
Lisa.
word is truthfulness. 4 times the moderators had to fact-check Donald Trump's lies, 0 times for Kamala Harris.
Yeah, but the moderators didn't push Kamala Harris when she didn't answer their questions, which I think was frustrating for a lot of people. And a lot of conservatives very, very upset with the moderators tonight. We're seeing a lot of comments about that. All right, let's go to the poll right now. We are asking you, who do you think won this debate? foxla.com/vote. So far, of our viewers, 60% say Kamala Harris won the debate, 40% at Donald Trump. In the last debate, that number was close to 90% for Donald Trump. You can weigh in. We'll keep showing those numbers throughout foxla.com/vote as well. So now we want to take you to a West to some responses to the question of what is your one word for the debate. We turn to Twitter or X with the hashtag Fox11 debate. Here are some of those responses, some of them saying biased, which goes to this idea that some folks were frustrated with the moderator, uninterested, another response there, fixed. So you see some of that anger, disgraceful from folks that were not happy with the way that ABC News handled this very big moment for them. Let's take you now to Westwood. Ed Laskos is live at the Hammer Museum, where there's been a nonpartisan debate watch party. Ed, what are people saying?
Well, it started out to be nonpartisan, but I'll tell you, as the debate went on, and now as it ends, there's no question here who won it. They're saying victory clearly going to the vice president. Quick look around with Elliott, the folks coming out of the watch party, coming over, taking their pictures there by the cutouts of the two candidates. They were applauding here, and I say was strongly supportive of the vice president, because every time Harris made a point, they were up, they were cheering, they were clapping, and then when the former president made his points, his counterpoints, there were jeers. They were jeering, especially when Harris said that Putin would eat Trump up for lunch, have him for lunch. They love that line, and they say here there is no doubt that Harris came out swinging, and that's why she is their candidate. Listen to some of this reaction.
She's aggressive, but I think it's because she knew his history in debates is very, personal, and it's not factual. It's all feeling, and it's all, very, very elementary.
I thought that with Tulsi Gabbard, he'll be more prepared, and I think she came more prepared with this, so it's fascinating. It's very fascinating.
Are you a bit surprised by her performance?
I am a bit surprised by it. Because she's her comebacks are more stronger than what I expected.
She's been funny, clear, articulate, stuck to the point, has not gotten distracted.
And Mr. Trump?
I'm not sure if I'm allowed to use this language given your outlet, but he has continued to be the walking show that I essentially expected. Entirely unfocused, insulting. He's got one or two points about illegal migration that he totally inflates and simply hammers home because he has nothing else to say.
And now live, just some of the reaction here. A lot of the folks saying they're happy that Harris came out swinging, as the one lady put it, saying they had Biden before he lost that first debate, she said. So they wanted a fighter. That's what they got tonight here. Many of the folks watching the debate and the reaction that continues. For now, we're live here on the West Side. Back to the studio we go.
Are you saying that Alan there is undecided? All right, Ed. Thank you.
No, they're not.
Yeah. All right. We've got some strong opinions out there. Let's go to one moment, because it seemed really clear that Kamala Harris was trying to get under Donald Trump's skin, including this moment.
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election.
John, it seemed like she went after every one of Donald Trump's pain points, whether it be crowd sizes, the election result, world leaders, his inheritance from his father, all these things that usually get him off his game. And it seemed like he went for each one of them.
Yes, that's his weakness, correctly identified. He never passes up a chance to fight an insult. He never lets anything go by. It's his weakness. It's stupid. Yeah. She should have just changed the topic and gone back to her weak points, which is the policies of the last 4 years.
Right. Well, shouldn't we have a high bar for the president? Shouldn't we expect the president of the United States to be able to tolerate a little insult, criticism, a comment? I mean, it's such a low bar for Donald Trump. The Republicans always want to just excuse everything he does.
Let's take you live now to the spin room in Philadelphia. Listen in. Governor Gavin Newsom speaking live.
Reacting to this for weeks and weeks and weeks in his pity party, in his grievance mindset, the victim. I'm sure he'll be gaming, complaining about the refs and the rules, all things he agreed to.
Thank you. Why should young people, especially students, vote for Harris?
So that's some of what he's having to say there. We expect to hear from Congressman Robert Garcia in the spin room as well from California. Ted Lieu from California also there in the spin room, along with Senator LaFonza Butler. I'm not sure if there's any California Republicans in the spin room. I haven't been alerted of that as of yet. And so in terms of What Trump needed to do tonight in terms of appealing to middle-class voters, in terms of trying to get himself over the hump, how do you think he acquitted himself?
Absolutely horrible. Look, Kamala Harris talks about her middle-class background. She talks about things that middle-class people care about, like housing costs, starting a small business, the cost of prescription drugs. She talks about her background as a middle-class person and how Donald Trump inherited $400 million and then had 6 bankruptcies. That was a great line. He does not care about the middle class. He cares about his own grievances, and he makes ridiculous arguments like Democrats want to kill babies after they are born. You know, why can't the Republicans actually win with the real facts? Why do they have to make up these absurd facts that everybody knows are lies?
Real quick rebuttal for you, about 20 seconds.
What does the public care about? Go back to the polling. They care about the inflation. They care about the state of the economy. She was part of the administration that created the economic inflationary mess. She hasn't addressed it.
Yeah.
Why doesn't she, if it's such a good story, then why doesn't she say, hey, look at these great numbers. Look how everybody feels good. We know a lot of people are angry and frustrated with the economy. That's a reality. But she avoided it.
But Donald Trump says we have
don't look it through a partisan
inflation.
lens. Don't look at, no.
But
A
let's talk
partisan
about
media
facts.
person lens. Look at it as an average person struggling at home.
Okay.
What was her answer? What was her explanation?
But I want to make 2 points
What
about
was her
this.
apology?
Donald Trump said we have a 90% inflation rate. That is absurd. That's another lie. Secondly, we have worldwide inflation, and America's is lower
Nobody
than most
cares
developed
about
countries.
inflation in Europe. Nobody
that's
cares.
Not, is Biden responsible?
I care. I go to buy a
finish my point.
cheeseburger at a sit-down place. It's $28. I don't care if it's more expensive in Sweden. What does that matter?
Because it matters, because Biden
No, it doesn't.
didn't create it.
All I
Biden
care
did
about
not
is what
create-
I pay in my
Biden
country.
did not create inflation
we've got
in
more to
Europe.
go,
It's a
but we got to sneak in a commercial break here. We'll have more from them. We'll have more from the Spin Room. Plus, Politico's Melanie Mason joins us as well as we continue with this special, very spirited live edition of The Issue Is right here.
Kamala Harris talk for 90 minutes.
Edition of The Issue Is J.D. Vance, the VP pick for the Republicans in the Spin Room. Let's listen in.
President of the United States of America. She is in office now and has been for 3.5 years. It's her policy that caused these problems. It is her policy that caused higher inflation. It's her policy that caused a wide open southern border. If Kamala Harris wants to fix these problems, she should do it right now with the job the American people gave her, not ask for a promotion so that she can fail even more.
Senator Vance, immigrants are eating their dogs, their cats. It was mentioned by Trump on national television. Do you truly believe those claims?
Well, we just actually heard a 911 call from a citizen in Springfield earlier today that some of the immigrants in Springfield were capturing geese at the local pond, slaughtering them and killing them.
Dogs.
Well, I mean, look, I don't know what are the full spate of animals that are being consumed there in Springfield, but I know that geese are certainly among them. And we've heard reports from a number of constituents on the ground that they have had pets abducted by some of the immigrants there. We're, of course, looking into this stuff. But look, the fundamental issue here is whether they were eating geese or dogs. Is that really what we're going to hang our hat on? The problem is that this small town in Ohio has been flooded with 20,000 migrants thanks to Kamala Harris's policies. Now, people can't afford basic goods. They can't afford food. They can't afford housing in their communities, and their public safety has been completely destroyed. It's a disgrace. And Donald Trump is right to call it out. And Kamala Harris, like so many other issues, she has no way to explain why she's going to be better as president than she has been as vice president. It's her policies that caused the problem. She should have to answer for that.
Who would have thought that eating pets would be something we'd be discussing here tonight? That's J.D. Vance in the Spin Room in Philadelphia. Back to our poll. Who do you think won the debate? Right now, the numbers have switched a bit. So I guess some of our viewers are liking what John had to say. FoxLA.com/vote. Right now, Donald Trump at 66%, Kamala Harris at 34%. Feel free to share what you had to say. Let's get another perspective now from one of the smartest people in politics. Melanie Mason is with Politico. The two of us moderated the Senate debate here in California, so we know what it's like to be doing this on a much smaller scale. We could talk about the moderators maybe in a moment, but Melanie, you know we like to ask for your one word here on the show. So what is your one word for the debate?
It's bait. That's what Kamala Harris was setting up the entire time throughout this whole debate. She was setting traps for the former president, and he was stepping in them. And so I think that she was far better on offense than she was on defense. Her answers defending her own record, talking about her own plans, could be a little flabby, kind of hard to understand. But when she was executing her plan of setting this bait and Donald Trump kept taking that bait, I think that that's what defined this debate. I guess it's a lot of baits in a row, but that's definitely the takeaway.
And it seemed like so much of the night was her on the offensive, him on the defensive. But to your point, she was not really pressed that much in terms of questions. When she was asked questions by the ABC moderators, she didn't often answer them, and there were no follow-ups on those questions. She able to basically skate by on not responding to a lot of the biggest issues.
And I think that there is we're hearing a lot of that, particularly from Republicans who are watching that debate. And I think that there is some legitimacy to that. I mean, in some ways, it did feel like she was getting away with not fully answering the question. Meanwhile, there were factual fact checks about certain things that the former president said, which I think are entirely in bounds. But there was a point where it started to feel a little bit lopsided. But here's the end of the day. If the biggest thing that Republicans are saying after this debate is whining about the refs, then that's not a good night for Donald Trump. You can complain about the refs all you want, but we know, you and I are both sports fans, that if you're complaining about the refs, you're losing. And I think that that is a big takeaway, is just hearing what you're hearing from the Republicans right now. It's not about the lines that Donald Trump landed. It's about the debate moderators, and that's certainly not what they wanted to be the focus going into this night.
A very historic night that we witnessed together. Melanie Mason, thanks for weighing in. Really appreciate it.
Sure thing.
Your thoughts real quick on that, on the refs.
I have a different view of that. It's not about complaining about the refs. The people watching at home don't care about media people. They hate media people, right? And they kind of expect things to be a little lopsided. What they were looking for, again, undecided voters, right? Because it's a 50-50 election here. I want to feel confident if Kamala Harris is president, that the economy's not going to go to hell, that this immigration disaster is not going to continue. I want to be confident that I know what she stands for. We know Trump is going to do something at the border. We know Trump was president and the inflation rate was 1.4%. We know what he did. She has all these different positions from different years. You're going to vote for somebody, you want confidence. So I keep focusing back on a regular person, not a media person. Yes, she got in some good zingers. Do people vote on zingers? Or do they vote on someone they have confidence in when it comes to the big issues? Inflation, economy, immigration, and what are their general policies?
Yeah. And what about the truth? What about confidence in the truth? You know, the problem for conservatives is truth skews left. When Donald Trump says that the crime rate is so much higher right now, I'm going to tell you what I mean. When Donald Trump says the crime rate is so much higher right now, and David Muir has to jump in and say, well, actually, FBI statistics show that the crime was a lot higher under your administration. Those are the facts.
Whose crimes are we talking about?
Wait,
Donald
Trump, let me finish.
Do you think the crime is higher in Los Angeles?
Well, FBI, we can't really trust the FBI. You know, according to Donald Trump, you can't trust the FBI. You can't trust his Secretary of Defense or his Vice President or his Chief of Staff. You just can't trust anybody except Donald Trump.
Regular people vote on how they feel. People in Los Angeles feel that crime is up here. You can bring out statistics.
Facts matter.
Yes, but when people vote, how they feel matters.
Yes, it does. We're going to have to leave it there for right now. We're going to sneak in another commercial break. More of John and Lisa. More from the Spin Room when The Issue Is continues. A live look from the Spin Room, which is busy right now following the presidential debate. Another look now at the poll. We are asking you who won tonight's debate. FoxLA.com/vote. You can vote. 66% of you right now say Donald Trump. 34% of you say Kamala Harris. We're also asking you one word to describe tonight's debate using the hashtag Fox11Debate. Here are some of them. Non-substantive. Norma Maldonado, crowd size, laughing at the fact that Harris was mocking Trump on that. Another comment, farcical. We need a complete redo with new moderators. Another saying annihilated.
Yeah.
So as you can see, it seems like a lot of folks are going in their partisan camps, depending on which perspective they came into this. Lisa Bloom, do you think any of the undecided voters that John is talking about, that real small sliver in these few swing states, do you think anybody actually will have their mind changed after tonight?
I absolutely do, because they could see that Kamala wants to move forward. She doesn't want the grievances of the past, that she cares about the middle class, that she's optimistic, that she has some joy. She actually smiles sometimes. I think that's what people want to see.
What about you, John?
You take a swing state voter in Pennsylvania about fracking. She said in the past she banned fracking. Now she doesn't. She doesn't want to
Have you
explain.
ever changed your mind about anything?
But why doesn't she explain why she changed her mind? And if you think fracking is important to the Pennsylvania economy, why would you trust her?
Because
you
she
can't
answered
just
that
say
question.
she's full of
I'll
joy. That
tell you
doesn't
why.
matter.
I'll tell you why. Because she understands climate change. Donald Trump never has said anything about climate change other than it's a hoax and that he wants more drilling.
Climate change or no climate change, we have to frack for oil.
To answer your question about fracking, she wants fracking and clean energy and solar and wind. That's a comprehensive climate plan. And thank goodness we had the Inflation Reduction Act.
Then what made her
passed by the
say
Democrats
she was going
to actually address climate change?
But Lisa,
Donald Trump thinks it's
Wait,
a hoax.
why
He
doesn't
wanna
she
do
say that?
anything.
Why doesn't she say this? Why are you saying
She
it,
did
not
say
her?
that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what she said.
She has not really in-depth explained her evolution on that issue and didn't
and
tonight.
she changed in 2020.
And we've got some breaking news, that perhaps the most important news of all. Okay. This is probably the news that people will be talking about more than anything else that comes out of tonight based off the way our society works. That's a picture of Taylor Swift with her cat. And she just endorsed Kamala Harris on Instagram, saying, "I'll be casting my vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. I'm voting for them because she fights for rights and causes I believe in, need a warrior to champion them. She's a steady hand, gifted leader. I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we are not led by calm and not chaos."
And she's a childless cat lady.
She's talking about LGBTQ rights, IVF, women's right to choose.
Did anyone
sort of thing.
think she was going to endorse Trump?
Well,
Of course, she endorsed Biden back in 2020.
Right, so this is not...
But to quote Taylor, Donald Trump is the smallest man who ever lived, and she knows all too well who we should all be voting for, and that's Kamala.
I mean, on the margins, though, do you think this sort of thing could make a difference?
No, I think if it does make a difference, those people shouldn't vote.
Well,
You want people voting who take a recommendation from Taylor Swift?
As a huge Swiftie who went to her Eras concert, let me tell you, I think her endorsement makes a big difference to a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, she is the most popular person in the country.
I mean, she
probably right
impacted
now.
the economies of every city that she went to.
Good. Then when the economy goes into the toilet, she could bail everyone out with her billions of dollars.
Or with concerts, more concerts.
So as we go forward, where does this campaign, you think, go from here, John? I mean, this probably is the one and only debate. I don't think we're going to have one after this. We do have a VP debate going forward, but people are starting to vote in states around the country now, and certainly in the next 2 weeks.
I think it's going to be a sludgy grind for the next 2 months. The polls will probably stay very close. The swing states will stay close, and nobody's going to know until maybe 3 weeks after the election. I don't. Even if you had a second and third debate, it would probably be like this one. I mean, what didn't they cover? Right? They covered everything. Maybe you'd have a pair of moderators who would actually be tough. They'd grow a spine. And when Kamala Harris did her dance in the clouds and not answer questions, they say, "Kamala, stop. Answer the question." I mean, I would give my right arm for a moderator to say to any of these candidates, "Shut up and answer the question." Why can't that happen once?
It's amazing they didn't pick you to be the moderator.
There's a reason no one's picked me as a moderator.
Where do you think the campaign goes from here?
This is a very tight race. Yeah. It is. Every poll is super, super tight. And I just want to encourage anybody out there who agrees with me that we've got to get Kamala elected to please volunteer, as I'm going to be doing, canvassing in a swing state, make phone calls, give money. You don't want to look back after the election and say, "Oh, my God, we have Donald Trump again, and I didn't do what I could have done." So everybody really needs to get involved.
And in terms of anything you think that will stand out when people look back at this night, what do you think is going to be the most memorable moment?
Well, that Kamala was smart. She had the facts. She stuck to her messaging. She cares about the American people. She never had to be corrected on the facts. And Donald Trump is completely chaos, making up facts. I mean, you know, people eating dogs and cats. Come on.
Your big takeaway is the final word.
Is that she swung and whiffed on all the stuff that the swing voters care about.
Yeah.
You explain.
What does whiffed mean?
Struck out, swing and a miss.
Oh, okay.
It's a baseball term.
Okay, I think people do care about economy, about tax credits for childcare, for small businesses, about keeping prescription drug prices down, which she has done, by the way, and wants to continue. I think people care a lot about that.
My big takeaway is that it seemed like Kamala Harris laid trap after trap after trap for Donald Trump that he could not help himself but going in, which put him on the defensive, her on the offensive for most of the night. What she didn't really do, though, is explain why she changed her positions and lay out an affirmative case for herself as effectively as maybe some people wanted to. We'll see if that matters
Do you have
or
any
not.
what she would do on the border? Do you have any idea what she'd do on the border?
He has changed
We are
his position
just about
on
out of
abortion
time.
like 5 times in the last
we
week.
want to let you guys know that coming up tonight on the Fox 11 News at 10, we're going to have more on the multiple fires that are burning around Southern California. Some real serious stuff. We're thinking of everybody that's involved in that. We'll have more on that tonight at 10 and 11 o'clock. We'll also take you back live to the Spin Room, and we will have more on all of the week's political news on our regular edition of The Issue Is, which airs every Friday night at 10:30 right here on Fox 11. Thank you so much for witnessing history with us together. John, see, look at that. That's what we need more of in this country. John and Lisa, great to see both of you. Our thanks to Melanie Mason.
We have to dance next time.
I know.
Like
Next time we'll dance. Thank you all for watching this special edition of The Issue Is. We'll see you tonight at 10.
I hope I'm dancing on Election Day.